Good morning, Commissioner Pavlik,
Present.
Commissioner Kammerer,
Present.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Present.
Commissioner Vinicor,
Here.
Commissioner Caliendo, Commissioner Thomas,
Here.
Commissioner Jones-Van,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy, Commissioner Williams.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's stand for the invocation and pledge.
Did we want to swear in first?
We're going to
Sorry.
do swearing in of our new
Swearing in of new
commissioners.
commissioners. Okay.
So, Ms. Thomas and Van, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties of office as a member of the Palm Beach County Zoning Commission and will support and honor and comply with all applicable laws of the state of Florida and Palm Beach County, including the Unified Land Development Code and the Palm Beach County Code of Ethics?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Now the invocation.
Lord, we ask your guidance today as we consider matters that will affect the safety and welfare of many people in our county. Help us to listen with open minds to matters that are important before us and to act on those matters that will benefit those who reside in our area. Keep our minds open and alert, our hearts compassionate, and our comments charitable. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Zoning Commission of Palm Beach County has convened at 9 a.m. in the Vista Center, Ken Rogers Hearing Room, BC 1W47, 2300 North Jog Road, West Palm Beach, Florida, to consider proposed applications and staff recommendations pursuant to the Palm Beach County Unified Land Development Code. The Commission takes final action regarding Class B conditional uses, subdivision variances, and Type 2 variances, and issues advisory recommendations on other requests. The Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County will conduct a public hearing at 301 North Olive Avenue, West Palm Beach, Florida, in the Jane M. Thompson Memorial Chambers, 6th floor, on applications not subject to Zoning Commission final action. Zoning hearings are quasi-judicial in nature and must be conducted to afford all parties due process. The Board of County Commissioners has adopted procedures for conduct of quasi-judicial hearings to govern the conduct of such proceedings. The procedures include the following. Any communication with commissioners which occurs outside the public hearing must be fully disclosed at the hearing. Applicants and persons attending the hearing may question commissioners regarding their disclosures. Such questions shall be limited solely to the disclosures made at the hearing or the written communications made a part of the record at the hearing. Any person representing a group or organization must provide documentation that the person representing the group has the actual authority to do so regarding the matter before the Commission. Any person who wishes to speak at the hearing will be sworn in and may be subject to cross-examination. The applicant and county staff may cross-examine witnesses. Any other persons attending the hearing may submit cross-examination questions, including follow-up questions, to the chair, who will conduct the examination. The scope of cross-examination is limited to the facts alleged by the witness in relation to the application. Public comment is encouraged, and all relevant information should be presented to the Commission in order that a fair and appropriate decision can be made. Do we have proof of publication?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Motion to receive and file?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. This swearing in? Yeah.
All those wishing to testify or speak on today's quasi-judicial items, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Okay, approval of the minutes.
I'll motion to approve the minutes of April 3rd.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? None showing. Okay, amendments to the agenda.
Okay, we have a few amendments to the agenda, starting with item number 2 for zoning director. We have some interested parties that wish to speak before, and we are actually, rather than put it before consent, we're going to put it right after the consent agenda, but before regular. The consent agenda, item B3, ZVDOAZ 2024-1420, coastal waste recycling. We have a few amendments, starting specifically with the Exhibit C2, cross-referencing a control number incorrectly. 2007-172 is the correct number. Amendment to modify the Class A conditional use Exhibit C4 to clarify use limitation condition. There were 2 4s. We're making this one a 5. Amendment to modification to Exhibit C5 for coastal waste, modifying use limitation 3 and 4, and adding in health condition number 1. And then on the regular agenda, B9, SV, ZV, PDD 2024-1422, West Atlantic RV, correcting the motions on the agenda and adding a letter from the Delray Alliance.
Need a motion?
Motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Okay, conflicts and recusals, starting to my left. Any?
No, I have no excuse.
None.
None. I had a previous real estate transaction with the applicant on items 6, 7, and 8, and I asked for an opinion from the Commission on Ethics, and it was determined that there's no special financial benefit from the vote. So, but for transparency, they said I may wish to disclose this prior to the this prior real estate transaction. So, which is what I'm doing right now. But I will be able to vote on the consent agenda.
None.
None.
Okay, and I have none. No recusals.
Okay, so item number 1 on postponements, W 2024-1566 Beach Sound. No motion is necessary. We have administratively postponed this to June 5th, 2025. So that'll bring us to the consent agenda and disclosures for the consent agenda.
Commissioner Jones-Van, any?
None.
No disclosures.
None. I spoke to the applicant on items 6, 7, and 8.
I have none.
I have none.
And I have none. Okay. We'll move on to the,
Do you have any requests to pull any of the items for consent? Or cards?
I have cards for Nash Trail. We're going to read those.
That's not consent.
No, okay,
Right,
no.
okay. Okay. So then you would need a motion.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Commissioner Kennedy has arrived.
So, good morning. To discuss the Nash Trail item, which is on this agenda as item 2. So there is no motion and a vote for this item today, as that is not possible with correspondence and discussions with the county attorney. So what happened last month, and I deeply apologize to you as this board and to the residents that are in this room, is what happened last month when Nash Trail was on the agenda. There was cards that were submitted by 3 of the residents and possibly 6 of the residents that weren't turned into the board, and they weren't allowed the opportunity to speak. So we have collected material from them. We met with them twice, an hour after last zoning commission meeting, and then an hour last Friday. We've encouraged them to coordinate with the applicant, and the applicant is also here. In your packet before you, you have photos and you have letters that we were included in the add delete. The staff report, is not on the table for motion today, but we would like to go to public comment for the standard 3 minutes apiece for each of the cards for Nash Trail at this time. And this is technically zoning director's comments to allow this opportunity to speak. Again, I apologize to everyone involved, but we felt it was our responsibility to allow the public comment before you today and to become part of the record.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have cards.
We have cards. So first, I'd like to call John Eubanks Jr. up to the podium, and please state your name and address for the record.
For the record, John Eubanks, 605 North Olive Avenue in West Palm Beach. I represent, if you got my letter, I represent 5 people: Robert Polahunik, Walter Ross, Michael Gordon, William T. Sadler, and Patrick Ledger, all of whom are here today. And I am a registered lobbyist for all of them online. So the question comes up, and I'm a little bit still baffled on this issue, because what really happened, and it's been admitted, we have 5 nearby property owners who, if you could put yourself in their shoes, they're sitting here looking at an application they got fairly late, right before this was going to come up. They did the right thing. They got people together, they sat down, they talked, they tried to get some other information together, and they came here. And each and every one of them signed a card, put it in, and said, okay, now I'm going to get to speak because that's the way the rules of procedure are set up. But they didn't, and everybody's even admitted, and I know, and I feel bad for Lisa, but it really, they've admitted and you'll see it actually in the application, or in the staff review again, that that's what happened. That at that commission meeting, 5 members of the public who are here today and will speak as well, sent cards in with requests to speak, and due to staff error, the members in public were not called upon to speak. Well, that's a big thing. If you're sitting here with your property, which is probably one of the most expensive things you own, and you're having a change to the property next to you that you think is going to be wrong, is not going to leave your your community as safe as it should, and it's going to depreciate the value of your property. What do? You come in and you expect to be heard, and they were not. And from our standpoint, I know that the staff has cited part of the ULDC, but as the part that says that you have the right of all persons may appear and come to the public hearing and submit evidence. That's one part. The second part is, and we've cited it in our letter, is just south of there in subsection 3, there's the procedures for the public hearing, and these are for advisory issues such as today. The order of the proceedings shall be as follows, and it lists them out. The applicant gets to go, the county gets to respond, and number 3, the public testimony shall be heard. Then number 4 and 5, the applicant goes back, you guys get to ask questions. And the last one is, the decision-making body shall discuss the facts of the application and make a recommendation vote. So the problem is, we're sitting here today, after the fact, with 5 people who were here, and they weren't allowed to speak, and then we're trying to say it's okay that we're going to come back later and do it when the actual rule says you can't. And the problem with that is, and I've heard, with all due respect to the county attorney, well, there's nothing we can do. Yes, you can. It's called, the whole process then was void. You didn't follow your own procedures. And we've given you some extra copies of other procedures that fall right in line with ULDC that you have to have it. So from our standpoint,
Thank you.
Okay,
Please
we
wrap
have a
up.
violation of due process, and I'll let these folks talk about it some more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, since my office was invoked in the comments, and I did just want to kind of follow up and clarify. It is regrettable that the comments were not accepted, and I know staff feels very badly about this. Unfortunately, there's nothing in the code or our rules which allow the zoning commission at this time to reconsider the item. The Board of County Commissioners, once a zoning recommendation has been made, zoning commission recommendation has been made, is the entity that has the authority to remand back to this board if they determine it to be appropriate. That meeting will be later this month, right? So I know that this has been reiterated to the public, and it doesn't change the fact of what happened, but they can rest assured that staff will collect any comments, any letters, any evidence that they want to include, and it will be reflected and referenced in the staff report that the staff presents to the board later this month. All the members of the public, including the attorney, will have the opportunity to be heard at that meeting and provide comments prior to a final decision being made. They will also have the ability, as is their right, to reach out to individual board commissioners to, again, provide their comments and concerns about this issue. I just wanted to reiterate that the vote taken by the Zoning Commission last month was a recommendation in an advisory capacity. There was no final binding decision being made. That final decision will be made by the board at the end of this month. And, again, staff will be available to meet with them and discuss anything else that they have. Their comments will be reflected, and they'll have an opportunity to be heard prior to a final decision being made. So just wanted to clarify that.
All right, thank you. More cards.
Yes. So I'm going to call Michael Gordon up, and right behind would be Walter Ross. And again, just please state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. Michael Gordon, 5360 Oldsmobile Drive. I border this project on the southwest property line. I own and operate the equine boarding facility along the southwest property line of the proposed Nash Trail project. My property is zoned agricultural and has been since the 1970s. The proposed project will significantly change the landscape and adversely affect my client's horses, as well as disrupt my enjoyment of my life in a rural setting. There are several changes that could be made to this project, the current site plan, to alleviate the impact on my property, business, and my way of life. This would include the increase in natural buffer tree line and vegetation buffer along the west property line, as well as constructing a concrete wall on top of the earth berm for that development. WGI and Lennar have given us a couple minutes to talk with them via phone and one very brief in-person meeting at a coffee shop. And they're adamant that they don't have enough room to put up this wall. They don't have the space to put a proper buffer in would keep us in our natural surroundings. I want to give you an example of what took place 20 years ago with a development called the Colony Reserve. This was a development right in the same area, and 20 years ago my neighbors, the developers, the site planners, and some of the county worked together to try to make their project work for everybody. What we did is we were able to make a very nice 2-acre preserve that borders me on my east boundary and abandonment of right-of-way, county right-of-way, which gave me a nice buffer to the south. Everybody got what they wanted. Developers are happy. They sold out. They made tons of money. I have my little oasis still. But this project here puts them right on my fence line, and just their site plan looks like an army barracks as far as I'm concerned. Has nothing to do with trying to keep it within what we have out there. What they're taking out is 2 single-family homes, each on approximately 2¼ acres, plus a vacant lot. They're going to put 53 units, and that is just not conducive with our little section that we tried to preserve 20 years ago by working with the county and the developers. WGI and Lennar say there's no space for what I'm asking for with this buffer and this concrete wall, but they're also asking for to implement the workforce housing code. I don't know code, but they want to increase the density of their units by approximately 1/3, which over what's allowed above the 5 units per acre. So if you had decided not to do this and take away their workforce housing, they would have plenty of room for the proper buffers, the wall, and it would have been much more conducive, much like the Colony Preserve project.
Thank you.
did
Your
for
time
us.
is up. Thank you. Walter Ross, if you could come up, please.
Good morning. I'm Walter Ross. I live 5407 Nash Trail, Lake Worth, Florida. And I might just say one little thing to the gentleman about it. We can't have a revote or permitted reuse. Has it ever happened before here? I mean, are we setting a precedent? I just wanted to mention that because we're following all the other rules and laws. Maybe there should be one made now, starting, but I'd like to cede 1 minute to our attorney, if I may. May I do that?
It's up to you.
Seeing as how I wasn't heard before.
That's in the discretion of the chair.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Beautiful.
For the record, again, John Eubanks, 605 North Olive Avenue, and I'll take only probably 30 seconds of it. I listened to what the county attorney said that says, rest assured, all this goes to the Board of County Commissioners. My problem is, as you can imagine, when the Board of County Commissioners gets something that says this was approved 8-0, that is a big, big hurdle for us to suddenly have to overcome. It's almost all but impossible when the inference is that this has been, like all the other ones that they've seen, has been fully vetted. It hasn't. You guys have a purpose, which is to vet these things, and it didn't happen, and it's going to be really hard for us, and you're putting us again behind the 8 ball on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
He still has a minute and a half
I'm
left.
sorry. Okay.
Hey, thank you for that. Just to give you my background, in 1996, I purchased the agricultural property. I've been growing tomatoes since 1978, and I had raised my son. I had custody of a 2-year-old, and this was our home, and 2.5 acres.
Can you speak up a little? We're having a hard time hearing.
2.5 acres. Boy, I normally don't have that problem. I deeply oppose the project just in its design and the communication. I was spearheading the colony issue and found that to be a good relationship where it was a give and take, and I don't see anything here. I see 0 lot tenement construction, a walled canyon, if you will, to join the other 30 acres. If anything, the whole property should be a preserve, a buffer area. And, if you do an aerial shot, I don't even see, the need for it. It's just encroached in and crowded out. So I just wanted to make sure that, we're all heard, but I'd like to see more flexibility or any flexibility on the developer's part. Seemed like they were just stalling us with these little coffee shop talks because it got nowhere. But, my property, I produce heirloom tomatoes for Whole Foods, Wegmans, Fresh Market, and a myriad of gourmet restaurants in the area. So we do have an issue here, and we need to work with the developers, but, they must not be resistant to anything because we live there. I mean, this is our lives and our investments. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call Bill Sadler.
Good morning, and thank you for the time this morning. My name is Bill Sadler. I live at 5319 Oldsmobile Drive in Lake Worth. We bordered the property, or the proposed development, to the northwest, just in front of Raleigh's property. We purchased our property in 2009 for the prime purpose of having an equestrian-style lifestyle. It's 3 acres. We have a pasture. We have stables. And that's what we purchased the property for originally. Our biggest question is, we understand there's a checklist. We understand a checklist of standards the zoning commission, the zoning staff have to review to approve a rezoning. And my biggest problem is, our property is zoned AR, agricultural residential. I don't understand how a multifamily community is consistent with an agricultural zone piece of property. We understand that under this checklist there are certain standards. If one standard is not met, that the project would be considered not to the benefit of the public. And ultimately, we would think this would mean the rezoning would not be approved. So my question to staff and question to the commission is, I just don't understand how it can be deemed consistent with the adjacent land uses. We have a great concern about this project. We don't like how it was designed. Yes, there is a buffer of some sort, a dry detention area that they're placing on their property adjacent to ours. We think there should be more of a buffer. We have horses, or we'll have horses. The horses need privacy. The horses need no noise, no lights. They don't want people hopping fences and walking through and trying to get to access to our property. So we agree with Raleigh that there should be more of a buffer. There should be a berm. There should be a concrete wall. There should be some better protection for our property and our lifestyle. And this project will impact our lifestyle. It will impact the use of our land, why we bought the property to begin with. So we extremely oppose of this project. We don't like a multifamily unit or development next to our property. We do see it coming in. We see it starting from the east. 33 acres were totally devastated. Trees were torn down. Ponds were filled in. And if you look at an aerial now, look at Google Earth, the history of Google Earth on the aerials, and see what that property used to look like, and now look at it now. It's a big sand lot. I don't think they preserved one tree, and that's what's going to happen here. All those tall 80-foot pines next to us are going to be torn down. Yeah, they may save a few, preserve some vegetation, but ultimately it's going to become a good sand lot, and then multifamily is going to come up. That's greatly going to impact our project. We demand that this developer should provide some sort of mitigation for the loss of our land value, for the loss of our lifestyle. Should be more concessions, changes in the site plan. Ultimately, we don't think it's a proper piece of property for
Thank you.
multi-development. Thank you so much.
Robert Puhanek.
Good morning. Robert Palahunik, 5536 52nd Drive South. I border the eastern part. I am the upper northeast quadrant. I'm surrounded by the development that Green Acres allowed in. Couldn't fight them. And I was told directly that we like to go to Green Acres. They let us do whatever we want. I feel this is the same thing with Lennar. I was looking at Lennar's financials for the first quarter. Their gross margin for their product for the first quarter of 2025 is 18.7. It's about $500 million, if I do my math correct, 520. So asking for certain things or trying to work with them is really not a big deal. It's insignificant money. But regardless, our rights were trampled upon that were afforded us by the state of Florida. This is a half-hearted attempt to correct that, but it doesn't correct it. We're going to the board with an 8-0 vote. That's a big hurdle to overcome. Staff has been great in helping us and hearing us and listening to us, but as this development is, I have 2.5 acres. I spent well over $1 million building my home in 2000. I bought it in 2003. I moved in 2006. If you could put, Lisa, if you could put the picture up showing the map, the overlay, I would appreciate it. And the pictures that I provided to you, the AR, the one back, the AR in the green corner, that is my property. I will have to deal with all of those residents trying to get out. Now, that road is 900 feet, and it's 900 feet to Nash. There's 233 units going in Horton. That's 500 cars, another 106 cars. I do not have my pictures here. Picture one is what I look out my front yard every day. When I walk out, that is what I see. That's my yard. Picture two is my house, and that's what I see. To the west are the properties that are in question. Picture three is looking from my house down the road to the corner. That's 900 feet. That's the exit for 106 cars plus the D.R. Horton community. The red line is the two properties. Actually, 3 properties are in question. So every day, these people on these townhomes, I'm going to have to deal with it. They're going to go through the fence, over the wall, into the neighborhood where there's space. Picture 4 is the corner of 52nd and Nash. That's about 1,200 feet. Every single car from that community has to go out that road. It's 1 lane in, 1 lane out. Picture like Lennar community. This is what they're going to build. This is the same rendering that they built on Military Trail, just due east of this property. They just finished it. and you can count. That's at 10 o'clock in the morning that picture was taken. This picture was taken at about 8:22. Every single spot is filled. And
Thank
if
you. That's your time.
And I'm against the project. Thank you.
I have one more card here. The gentleman, Patrick Legger, does not wish to speak, but he is opposed. I just wanted to put that in for the record.
Thank you very much. And this item will be part of the agenda going to the Board of County Commissioners on May 1st. And I'd like to remind everyone that hearing will begin at 1 p.m., not May 20th. Today's May 1st. I'm having a rough month. May 22nd at 1 p.m. That is the hearing for Nash Trail and the other items that are on the agenda today and any item that was postponed from prior months. 1 p.m. the 22nd, downtown, the Governmental Center. Got that?
Can I
Did I
ask
got that right?
one question? It doesn't have to do substantively with the, but can I ask a question?
You can ask.
So, I think I missed something before.
Yeah.
So can we have the attorney explain again why we can't do a motion for reconsideration?
We had that explained prior to your attendance. I don't,
It was what I explained after the attorney spoke. There's nothing in the Code of Rules which allow for reconsideration at this time. Only the board can remand back to the zoning commission after a recommendation by the zoning commission has been made.
Okay, so that's part of our quasi-judicial hearing rules. I couldn't find it, so I just wanted to make
It's
sure.
not part of it. It's just there's nothing in our code or our rules which allow for the zoning commission at this point to do a reconsideration after the recommendation.
Right, so as an advisory board, we don't have the authority to do a motion for reconsideration. That would be something that normally a BCC could do.
If it occurs after the date of your recommendation.
Okay.
Yep, but we will include all of the materials that were provided today and that we received in that packet, and we'll include a summary of the discussion today. And the board and their staff watches these hearings and they hear the residents, so it will move forward as part of the next packet.
Okay, you're welcome. Regular agenda.
Actually, before we can move on to regular agenda, I was told that there were 2 cards that were submitted on item 8 and 7 for Palmetto's AGR, or 6 and 7.
I have a card for 3, 6, 2 for 7, but 1 came in and wasn't sworn in, so.
Okay. So 6 and 7, I believe, are on the consent agenda, and my staff
3.
are telling me they oppose. So
Can we read them into the record?
Are they still here? Are they just wanting to speak or just comment cards?
We're going to both waive our right to speak, take no position on the application.
So not opposed. You're saying no position on the application?
Yes.
Okay. So essentially, no comment.
Yeah, we're both residents of the adjoining piece of property of Palm Meadows. I'm a New York retired attorney. He's a New Jersey attorney. We're not zoning attorneys. We saw this come up. We weren't sure what it was about. We came here to see what we could find out. And we don't think we're going to be in a position to ask questions and get answers, so we're going to waive our right to stand up.
Okay.
Is that for item 7? Are you
6 and 7.
6 and 7? So, because I have 3 different cards here, can you just tell me your name so I can?
Yeah, my name is Donald Schwartz. I put in one on 6.
Gotcha.
Oh, you put 7.
7? Okay.
My name is Martin. My name is Martin Mintz, and I put a card in on item 6, and I also waive my right to speak.
Okay, we have another card?
We have a card on 3 that is opposed, and we have a card on 7, but the card on 7 was not sworn in. So if we want that person to speak, we need to have them sworn in. Is that correct?
Did the card on 3, did they wish to speak?
They do.
Okay. Are they still?
I think it's Guy Colette. Am I saying that correct? No? Anyone on number 3 that's still here that wanted to speak? I'm looking at it looks like it's a GUI, but I could be. Is that you? Okay.
So since the vote has already been made, if the board, because we're in the same session, If the board hears the comment and anybody would like to reconsider it, you can do that.
Okay, we will hear. Mhm. On item 3?
Item 3? Yes. And please just state your name and your address for the record.
Sure. My name is Guy Colella. I live at 458 Cresta Circle in the Terracina community, adjacent to this proposed coastal waste project. I'm an original homeowner. I see the project manager is Donna Adelsberger. Is she here?
She is not, but the zoning director and deputy director are here, so we got it covered.
Just curious. Thank you. So I wanted to start off by confirming the size of the project. Looks like it's 5.87 acres, call it close to 6 acres. Is that correct?
This is an opportunity for public comment, not questions and answers. Would you like to meet with us after this meeting to do questions and answers?
Perhaps. I have some other homeowners. Okay, so I'll make statements, I guess. Very new to this, never done this before, but so 6 acres seems like a pretty good plot of land. I'll take these questions, trying to make statements. Very close to our neighborhood, 500 feet setback. I'm sure it will probably introduce significant decline to our property values, which have occurred in our neighborhood for various reasons. I guess still a question, but a statement on why it couldn't be constructed further from a residential area, a recycling plant. It's like wedged right in the middle of our very large neighborhood, 460 units, and many other residential areas within the area. And then finally, we just had construction completed on a sheriff's, I don't know what they do there. They store, I think they have boats there, and I heard that they're going to go after people, coming in to the coastline, which I'm a little curious why they constructed it on Jog Road. So I think both of those reasonings from the county, where I'm sure location wouldn't be for the boating situation, but recycling, I'm sure, is a good location. They're looking for a central location, and meanwhile, everybody does things to save money. So I'm sure maybe if they were to put this facility further out west, away from the, residential area, it would maybe be a little more expensive for them. But again, we're the ones that are going to suffer from the decline in property values of a facility like this so close. So I definitely oppose this project, as do a couple of my neighbors that are here and most of the folks in the neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so then we have number 7. It's up to you to let the person speak, and they have to be sworn in.
On item 7, we have a card. Someone wishes to speak.
They were not sworn in, though, so do they need to be sworn in? Scott, do you need to swear them in?
Yeah, we can swear them in now, but if they're here and they want
Yeah,
to speak.
so it's Sandy Napolitano. Is Sandy Napolitano here? Okay.
All right, we'll close comments. And we'll move on to the regular agenda at this point. Item 9, presentation.
Okay, item number 9, SVZB PDD 2024-01422 West Atlantic RV Resort. We have 3 requests before the board. So first we will turn it over to the applicant and then staff for a presentation.
Mr. Chair, I have a question just about the disclosures. Last month, we were usually doing them at the very beginning, but then we were going to do them before each particular agenda. So do we do disclosures now? That's just my question.
Yes, let's do disclosures on this item.
Yeah, I think it's always best when possible to do it before the applicant speaks.
Starting with Commissioner Jones-Van.
No disclosures.
None.
I spoke with Laura McClellan on this.
No disclosures.
No disclosures.
I have no, oh, sorry, Commissioner Kennedy.
No.
And I have none. All right, let's move forward then.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Lauren McClellan with J. Morton Planning and Landscape Architecture. On behalf of the applicants Karen and Roger Fina, I'll be presenting the West Delray RV Resort. These applications have a companion future land use amendment application, which is being processed concurrently by the Planning Division. The 10.11 acre property is located west of State Road 7 at the terminus of Atlantic Avenue, on the north side of Atlantic Avenue, abutting the West Delray Regional Park. The applications before the Zoning Commission today are a rezoning from agricultural reserve to recreation vehicle plan development, a variance for the right-of-way buffer abutting Atlantic Avenue, and a variance to allow access for the proposed plan development from a right-of-way less than 80 feet. Staff is recommending approval of all of these applications, and we are working with staff on the conditions of approval. This application is not on the consent agenda simply due to some concurrent zoning text amendments, which I think are going to be before you next month, and they're mostly for cleanup purposes. This map shows the Atlantic Avenue corridor with the various existing zoning designations. You can see in red the multiple use plan developments, the gray, which is light industrial, and then the light green, which is the planned unit developments. So more specifically, the property is surrounded by a mix of recreation, commercial, agriculture, and utility uses. So at the intersection of State Road 7 and Atlantic Avenue is a gas station and commercial plaza. There's also a post office, let's go back, a post office behind that, as well as an AmeriGas facility. Along the south side of Atlantic Avenue, west of State Road 7, are various agriculture businesses, such as a chipping and mulching facility, landscape services, and wholesale nurseries. There's also an FP&L approved FP&L substation directly south of the property. So on the north side of the property, there are various agriculture and equestrian uses. Directly abutting the property to the north and to the west is the West Delray Regional Park, and then further to the west of that is the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge. So now just to talk a little bit about the specifics of the applications before you. As I mentioned, the property is 10.11 acres. The site does provide for a total of 1.12 acres of, there it is, of recreation on site. Access is located in the middle of the property from Atlantic Avenue. And it's stalling. That's okay. I'll just keep going. The site plan does have a total of 121 sites, with 113 of them being for RV sites, which allow for a maximum length of stay of 180 days. And then there are 8 campsites, which will allow for camping cabins, which allow only a maximum of 30-day stay. We do have 20-foot right-of-way buffers around the site. We have incompatibility in right-of-way buffers surrounding the property. So there's going to be a shaded triangle that should come up on the site, but it's not coming. There it is, a shaded triangle. That is a existing Lakeward Drainage District easement. So obviously, because of the odd shape of that site, it is slightly restrictive as it comes up into the site, and our site is narrow. Nice. So our variance is in the area of that purple shaded structure, or shaded easement, excuse me, just because we're not allowed to encroach landscape within Lakeward Drainage District easements, but we can't, there it is, that little area right there, but we have located our entrance there just to minimize the variance. And then the other variance that is being proposed is for access on a right-of-way less than 80 feet. This stretch of Atlantic Avenue from State Road 7 to the park varies in width in different areas, and the pinch point of it is 56 feet. Again, staff is recommending approval of these variances. at least this is working. So one of the big reasons that staff has been supportive of all of the applications to date is because the proposed use would be a complementary use next to the county park. The park supports a variety of activities and amenities, which include archery, remote control airplane field, remote control boat lake, a remote control car track, a remote control helicopter field, mountain bike trails, as well as frisbee golf. So these are just some pictures of some of those activities. They have tournaments, events for these various remote control. These are not what anybody should call a toy. These are big gas-powered craft, I guess is a good word. And you can see that people bring their campers to the park, and they will camp on site. This is a flyer for one of the remote control airplane tournaments that they had. As you can see, I did an enlargement. So there's a $25 camping fee for the weekend, but no hookups are available, as this park doesn't have water, sewer, electric hookups on site. So again, that's why this proposed use would be a great, as we would have electric, water, sewer hookups to provide for people. Additionally, the property is located within 3 miles of the entrance of the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge. This refuge is 145,000 acres, and it attracts approximately 300,000 visitors a year. So that's 822 visitors a day. And so activities within there are hiking, biking, canoeing, hunting, fishing, wildlife, photography, bird watching, all of that. And the proposed RV resort would provide a place for nature enthusiasts to come to as well for those activities. We do have community support for the proposed zoning applications. We received a letter from the Delray Alliance in support of the applications. So the use is compatible and appropriate to support the West Delray Regional Park, the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge, as well as the surrounding uses. The Board of County Commissioners has initiated and transmitted the companion comprehensive plan amendments unanimously. We do have a letter of support from the Delray Alliance, and staff is recommending approval with conditions of the proposed applications before you. So on behalf of the FINA family, I respectfully request approval of the 2 variances and a recommendation of approval for the proposed rezoning. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them after staff's presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll turn it over to Nancy Frontini for a presentation.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nancy Frontani with the Zoning Division, here to present on item SV CV PDD 2024-1422 West Atlantic RV Resort. So the subject site is located north of Atlantic Avenue and approximately half-mile west of State Road 7. The future land use and the existing zoning district is agricultural reserve, and the overall acreage is 10.11 acres. The applicant is requesting a subdivision variance to allow access from the existing 56-foot right-of-way, a Type 2 variance to eliminate a portion of the right-of-way buffer, and a rezoning from the agricultural reserve zoning district and to the recreational vehicle plan development zoning district. The rezoning request is conditional to the comprehensive plan amendment, and the setbacks shown on the preliminary site plan are conditional to the co-revision. This is the preliminary site plan. It indicates a total of 121 campsites, which 113 are RV sites and 8 for camping cabin sites. It depicts a recreation pod of 1.12 acres, including a clubhouse with pool, washrooms, and a dog park. A total of 143 parking spaces, access point from Atlantic Avenue, and it'll include a pedestrian access to the West Delray Regional Park to the west. At the time of publication, staff had received no comments or contact from the public, and staff is recommending the adoption of the request for the subdivision variance and the Type 2 variance, and a recommendation of approval for the rezoning request. And this concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from commissioners?
Yeah, I have a question. For the applicant. And maybe staff might be able to answer this too. This is something new, these 8 campsites for the 30-day stays. Just how is that going to be enforced so that they don't become permanent residences?
I mean, they're enforced through the state requirements. They have to sign in, and then there is a check-in sheet, and then it's the responsibility of the the campsite manager to maintain those records.
And so there's no code enforcement from the county that does that. It's through the state. Is that what that is?
I mean, I guess the code, I mean, it is in the code as well. It's in the code and it's in the state requirements, so it's state statute and county code requirements, so it could be double enforcement, yes.
Okay, because this is something new, these 8 campsites and these campers that are going to be on rollers or something, right? On wheels. Are they as high end as the other RVs that are supposed to be in the site, or?
So the intent is that they would be like, you've seen them around. They're like glamping. They're like tiny homes that they are built on an RV chassis, and so it's for people who want to come experience glamping but do not have the money for an RV camper.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you. And just one question of staff, and if the applicant wants to address it, it's fine. About the variances, that is a small roadway there in that area. And I can see these are very large RVs, but I see they don't come in that often, of course, but they will have cars attached to them and motorcycles and golf carts and all. So did you take that into consideration, staff, that would be there and it wouldn't be too obtrusive for that amount of width of roadway?
There's 2 landscape services and a chipping and mulching that access this roadway, and they don't have any issue with pretty large vehicles, so we didn't anticipate any issues with the access and circulation for the RVs. They're not going to weigh any more than a semi or some of the heavy commercial vehicles that are using the landscape service or the chipping and mulching.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the people that are there that are driving their little, take the golf cart off the back of their RV and they're riding around, going to Wawa and all and around just for safety issues. But I know I see there all the time little tractors with a whole lot of vegetation on the back, trailers going around. So, but these will just be more here. So the width of the road and all, it's the capacity. You think it'll handle it? It'll be okay.
Hi, Olive Bailey with Land Development. So that road is built to non-plan collector standards. So the lane widths are meeting the requirements. The variance was for that's just that pinch point that she talked about in West Atlantic Avenue, but it is built to non-plan collector, which is the requirement for this project.
So that'll be okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I said Amerigro hasn't raised any issues with it at all. Amerigro has no problem with this project because they're right directly across the street, and I see that there's nothing there. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, I would like to, something similar. I'm familiar with that because of the park. I live in Delray. It is a tiny, I know it's a regular thing, but it's a very narrow. And are they project in the future can be attached or require an additional road work? Because when you go to a big place like that, which is incredible, it will be a lot of traffic. That will cause a lot of, action with the residents that will go to the park every weekend and the people who live around, and maybe that will create a project of make a road bigger and better and protected for the surroundings.
So as far as this project is concerned, they're not required to make any improvements to the road. It meets the standards for what they're proposing. As far as if you're asking if the county would consider having a project to expand that road, right now I don't know the answer to that, but I mean, if the issues persist and increase traffic, and that's something that we would evaluate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it looks like we need
I have
Another
a question.
comment? Go ahead.
No, just a question about the motion. Should we take each one separately? Or all three, like to adopt a resolution of item 9A, 9B, and 9C?
Well, since you're asking, let's do them separately.
Okay. I'll motion to adopt a resolution of item 9A.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Item 9B?
To adopt a resolution of item 9B, that's the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Sorry, real quick. It's adopt a resolution approving. I know it's just semantics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Approving.
Okay, and we have a
9B.
motion and a second.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And to, and the third motion to recommend approval of item 9C.
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All right, that concludes the regular agenda. Any comments? We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
The second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.